Hey, Marcel.
Hi, Larry. How are you?
Oh, I'm exhausted. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm
Oh,
okay.
wow, I love your background. That's awesome.
Oh, actually, I got that. Oh my God, I can't remember. Let me get out of the way. Mount Hood, and that's the Sagittarius star cloud behind it.
Oh, I love the Milky Way cluster in the back. That is so cool. I love that stuff.
The picture I got from, I think it was a guy from Amateur Astronomy magazine. I've had it a couple years. I use it as my screensaver. Yeah, I love it too.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Oh,
Hi, John, Paul.
John's back in Amsterdam. Hey, Paul and Tim. And Larry is there, and everybody's popping in there. Hey there, George.
Hello.
How you feeling, George?
Good. I just got my test results back.
And?
I'm negative.
Good. Good. Very good.
I've been negative for years.
Yeah, but this is a negative that counts.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Hey, Larry, how are you?
Which one?
Oh, I already said hi to Mr. Cranston.
Doing good. No problem. You?
Good.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody's holding up through this absolutely insane week.
Oh, crazy week.
Yeah.
Crazy voting week, too. Oh, my God.
I saw a good meme on Facebook. Had a picture of probably about a 4-year-old with a cigarette and a beer. This is me if Biden wins. And then next to it is a picture of the same 4-year-old with the same cigarette and the same beer. This is me if Trump wins. And then down below is that famous screaming woman. This is half my friends, no matter who wins.
Okay. All right.
I've actually not watched the news. I sat down with Dad and Ann tonight for a little bit there 20 minutes ago, but I haven't watched the news in 3 weeks.
Oh.
I've said this is insane, absolutely insane, and I give up. Can't change anything. I voted, and the rest of America will figure it out.
Hey, Marcel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your background there with all the stars. Where are you?
That's Mount Hood out in Oregon, and that's the Sagittarius star cloud.
Very nice.
Thank you. It's one of my favorites.
Hey there, Bob.
Hey, Larry.
And Jeffrey's either hiding something from us or he's waiting for the big reveal there.
Oh, that's my kids, all my shelving with all my electronics and stuff. So this is my kids' school space. So.
Oh.
That's SDR, shelf-driven radio.
Hey, Bob, how are you? Good to see you, Jeff.
Bad, not bad.
Hey, does anybody else have problems with Windows 10 updates destroying all of your codecs? For
a little.
Yeah.
I can email me. I'll send you the link for a thing that will halt all your
well,
like a little program that'll halt all your updates.
I installed it the other day, Larry.
Oh, all right.
And unfortunately, they got me before I installed it. And it was funny because I was talking to Bob. Bob and I were on the phone, and we were talking about, I've been doing some whisper beacons on 80, 40, and 30, just trying to check propagation, for the different nets. And before we finished, we were talking about this, and I said, I'm so sick of the Windows things. Larry had sent me something, I'm going to load it in. We hung up the phone, and I had an update going on. And this was like, maybe 3 o'clock or so on that. I think it was Tuesday afternoon, Bob.
Yeah, right, about that.
2:30.
I thought I had sent you something out.
Is that the freeze program, Larry? Something called like freeze or something like that?
Stop window 10 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. It's like.
But I installed it, and it stopped another one within an hour or so of my having installed it. But I am just so sick of it. It took me hours to get everything back. it wiped out a whole part of the WSJTX program. And it's like, why are they doing this?
They like torturing their people.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Well, maybe you'll feel like this guy.
Yeah. Every
That's,
jolly urchin.
that's one of the K2H cards that just came in.
Geez, that's very similar to Carol's little green umbrella.
Oh, what the, yeah. Oh,
Here's something for your board members. If I can get it there. There you
can't quite read it. It's a little, you got to tilt it one way or the other. It's a little bit of glare.
go. Okay, let me try that. How's that?
Okay, that. No.
Hold on.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
There.
Yes.
Hi, Jurgen. How are you?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Jurgen.
Hey, Jürgen.
Hello.
John, it looks like you're in Venice. What's going on? JIE. So it looks like
Oh, no,
you're in Venice.
Amsterdam. That was for my trip last summer.
Ah, I was there, about 3 years ago. Very nice.
Yeah, when we could travel, when we could go
Yeah.
places.
What's that? And Ireland
daughter-
last year, right? Ireland last year, just a month before all this stuff started. So
Yeah,
maybe I brought it over. I don't know.
we were supposed to be there, well, last month, but
Hey,
her
Dave.
aunt is 95. We want to get back and see her again, but that's not going to happen until next year at the earliest now.
I would say we're probably going to be in this for at least another year or so.
Yeah. Well, they're going back on lockdown. Ireland's pretty much on a full lockdown right now. All the bars are closed. And hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm well, thanks.
Dave,
Great to hear you on our net there the other night.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back involved in it. Got my
Yeah.
stuff plugged in.
Very cool. Charlie, how are you?
Hey, Dave, long time no see. Where you been?
So now I'm unmuted.
Anyway, it starts drifting in here. So what's everybody doing this weekend?
Riding my bike.
As in motorcycle, or you started a tricycle?
No, motorcycle. I went out yesterday afternoon, went up all the way up into Cummington by the fairgrounds.
Hmm.
Out 66, up 112, and up to 9. Nice ride.
You can't go out with all that snow bed back of you out there.
That was last week up where I was delivering oil.
Ah, okay.
How much did they end up getting?
Goshen got 5.5 inches.
We dodged the bullet on that one. Can you imagine if we had gotten the predictions, the possible predictions with all these leaves on the tree?
It was pretty sketchy with the leaves on the ground and the snow on top of them.
Yeah.
Makes driving interesting.
Can I just test my audio real quick on my my radio just to make sure it's being heard?
Sounds great, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, no. Hold on a second. My radio audio. Hold on. Just let me unmute it and see if you
Okay,
guys,
yep, sorry.
you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. Good. All right. That's all. Thank you. Back to.
I don't think everybody's so chatty tonight. I think everybody's tired.
We've all been sitting up all hours of the night.
Hey, Carol.
Lawn work,
Leaves,
Yep, did
leaves
that
while the
today.
sun shines.
brown awful leaves.
Yeah, we're gonna finish winterizing our camper tomorrow.
I'm lucky. I'm the only person in the plains that doesn't have a tree in their yard. No leaves.
My neighbor has them, and I've been blowing all the leaves over and back over to their yard.
Hey there, Carol.
Oh,
Hi, Carol.
Carol,
Carol.
Steve's here too. John and everybody else. I got everything except the clock up here. Okay. If you wait long enough, the wind will blow it in. Well, if you don't have any trees along the edge or fences, if all goes well, the wind usually blows a good chunk of our leaves into my neighbor's yard. So. It works out well. But,
my daughter came over and did mine.
Nice.
Yeah, she's good that way.
Can send her our way. We got to pay to have ours taken away.
Probably have to pay her too.
well, isn't that what your grandkids are for?
Yeah, that's what my kids and grandkids are for. I help them out a little bit too.
All righty.
What I got, Larry? About 45?
7:26. Yeah.
No, I mean about 45 minutes ish.
Oh yeah. 30 to 45 minutes. I think would be ideal, Jeff.
All right. Let's see if hopefully I can stay within that.
If you see everybody leaving, it's time to wrap it up.
Or if they're snoring, yeah.
Hints.
All right.
Oh, you can always mute that.
Hey, you got the invite, Jim. Hello there.
Hello.
Yeah, turn your camera down a little bit. All we see is your nose and glasses. There you go.
Okay, I just, this is the first time I've used the video camera on this computer ever.
It works.
How do I look there?
You look like Santa Claus.
Okay,
Also.
I got to, I got to do it myself because of this virus bit. And that's a pain in the you-know-what.
I've been using Zoom. I've been taking banjo lessons.
Banjo lessons.
Yeah.
Well, we were looking for some entertainment to go with next month's guest speaker.
A little bluegrass.
Oh, I'm kind of wondering, can you send CW with a banjo? I imagine you could.
Yeah, you imagine you could. Yeah. I play what they call claw hammer, not the finger picking up. Their fingers pick down.
Yeah.
Claw hammer.
If I got involved with the banjo, I'd be using a claw hammer to hit the banjo with it.
Well,
you ever heard of Bella Fleck and Allison Washburn?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Saw them over in Northampton. Must be 2 years ago now.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
She is too.
I can't
She
think
was
of
playing a fretless banjo when we went. She's just amazing.
Yeah. I can't think of her name right now, but his wife is also a wonderful banjo player.
Yeah, that's Allison Washburn.
Yeah.
Yeah. She plays claw hammer. He plays finger picking.
Yeah. We had a Zoom festival, old time music festival, a few weeks back, and she was one of the teachers in the workshops. Fantastic.
Carol, they say that's the hardest stringed instrument to play. Is it that hard?
Well, I used to play guitar, so it's very different the way you play it, but I think it's much easier with the chord wise, actually. Speaking of notes and everything, there are a lot of open string old time songs, so, or maybe fretting one string or two, and that makes it a lot easier. It's the learning the fingerboard that's
Yeah, that's the tough part on the guitar for sure.
Yeah, but I love it, as it has kept me sane.
That's what ham radio is doing for me. Ham radio and my wife.
Yeah. Well, I I had a visit from a couple of my grandkids today. They stayed on the porch and we talked through the door, but
Yeah.
it was nice to see them. I miss my hugs.
They can send you virtual hugs.
Oh yeah, they do that.
I know it's not the same, but
No, not the same.
Not the same. No. No.
all right, more people are starting to pop in here. Good evening, all. I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes here. We got Steve and Gary and John's
Gary.
here, Alan's here, Charlie's here, Ken. And we've already said hi to. I think I missed somebody else there.
Hey there, Larry. Everybody.
Dwayne's
Good evening.
here. Michael, Gene, no, Steve from Enfield. That's good, or Summers rather. W3SM. If you want to change your name, put your name in your call. You can right-click on your name, put your name and call in there.
Yeah, should do
I
that.
can?
Yeah, you right-click on your name, and then you can put your, if you want to put your name and your call or whatever you want to put up there that's within reason.
It's not permanent. though.
That won't make me, delete you.
There we go. As I said, this is my first time ever.
We got more people on the next page too. Oh, Nadine's here. Wow. First one she's making. And Ann's here. Oh, we got a good group of women to go with you, Carol.
Yeah. There's a contest. There's a contest on this weekend. Day of the YL.
Roger, I'll be there.
Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna try to get on this weekend too. I think it starts at 8 o'clock tonight, right?
Yeah, I won't be on tonight, but maybe tomorrow.
Me too.
All right. Well, in another 3 minutes, we'll get things rolling here tonight. Hey there, Gary. I see many of us are sprouting our winter beards as they come into season.
It's a permanent thing.
The last time I shaved mine was on our honeymoon.
Yeah.
That was over 40 years ago.
It's only been like 2 weeks for mine, or 3 weeks.
I got you
Here's all I
guys
got.
I got you guys all beat. I started mine when people who studied what I studied and wanted to get their PhD grew beards. That was a bit over 50 years ago.
I guess I would have failed that class.
Well, you know, guys, I just did the opposite. I took whatever hair I had left and got rid of it.
Someday I'll be doing that.
Well, it wasn't hard, I'll tell you.
Notice up here on the top.
And the glare is coming off,
I've had my
Jim.
beard down to my waist before.
Where's the snow in your background there, N1JE?
That's actually up in Goshen from the snowstorm last week.
Have a good evening.
Oh. Huh. Looks like a
drive-
couple
I
inches.
drive oil truck for Richard's Fuel, and I had deliveries up there.
Oh,
It's about 2.5 inches when I get up there. It's 5.5 when they get done. It's pretty.
pretty and slippery.
Not really.
It wasn't though. Okay.
No.
Goshen, you said.
Yeah, a couple driveways get sketchy when the leaves are there and the snow's on top of them.
Yeah.
I got a few customers in the club. I know Carol I've delivered to. I found out I delivered to Frandy, and I delivered to a guy from the soda jerks that lives up in Williamsburg on Petticoat Hill Road.
Matt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, I got to talk to him the last time. I was there.
What company you work for?
Richards, here in East Hampton.
Okay.
It's my
John.
retirement job.
John, K1VOI, it looks like your water buffalo is missing.
Oh, yeah, that's my sign for lions.
You
Be
see one
careful.
walk across, we'll make sure to tell you.
Right.
That's great. All righty, we're gonna get things rolling here, and I'm sure other people will keep popping in here, but good evening all. Welcome to the November meeting of the HCRA. Glad you can join us tonight. It's gonna be a great meeting and all. And just like as if we were in person, going to ask everybody to turn the ringers off their phone or turn the volume down so it doesn't interrupt the meeting when it's going on. If you've got dogs or anything else that might disrupt the meeting, if you can just either put it in another room or turn it off, that would be great. We all appreciate that. There's nothing like having, phones buzzing and beeping while the guest speaker is trying to speak. As many of you know, the fiscal year for the HCRA runs from September 1st to August 31st. And September 1st, we started our fundraiser again, the membership drive. And we're going along, and someday we'll be hopeful in getting everybody to renew in September and October. But so far that hasn't happened, and we're running about 70% have renewed, and we're looking for everybody else that haven't. So if you're not sure if you've renewed or not, if you go to hcra.org and look at the membership list, if you don't see your name on the list, you haven't renewed for the upcoming year. You can renew online. You can renew online, and you can make donations online. You can renew online, and you can join for the first time online. We've got a full application.
I will scratch you. Come here. Come here.
I'm going to ask that everybody will mute their microphones except for the guest speaker. That would be great. I don't know if I can do that remotely. And
Yeah, you should be able to.
let me see here. All right, mute all. There we go. Okay. Okay, so everybody should be muted except for me. Hopefully you can still hear me. That way we don't get any interruptions. And I'm going to just click here. So if you want to talk or you have a question for the guest speaker, you can unmute yourself, and Jeff, you can unmute yourself when time comes. But anyways, we're looking for everybody to please rejoin and support the club. We've got some things coming up in the springtime and some other activities. And even though, we're not paying for donuts and for the room or for other things, there still are expenses, and Zoom costs us $15 a month, even though we've prepaid for a year, and some other things too, in order to come up with activities that you can do from a safe distance for safety with COVID, but also participate in. So, excuse me, more and more of those things are happening. The board's got some great ideas, but we need your support. So if you could rejoin the club, we'd appreciate that. I'd like to remind everybody we're having some great Monday night nets. I think we had 12 or 14 people this past Monday. We started doing themed nets. So there's going to be a different question every Monday. And it's always a lot of fun learning about the different things about different people. So far, we've learned about how you got your license or who got you involved with your license, what your first rig was. And there's other themes coming up, a different theme every Monday night. It's a lot of fun. Great participation, great way to spend a Monday night, especially when it gets cold. And that's 28375 at 7:30 p.m. Come and join us. It's open to everybody, members and non-members. Let's see here. I can't think of anything else that's going on other than that. Next month, we have a virtual holiday party. So we're going to have a Zoom meeting, which we normally don't do because we don't have the ability to meet in person or the ability to have a holiday party in person. So we've got Fred Hoppengarden, K1VR, who is the New England section, the New England manager for the ARL, is going to be our guest speaker. We invite you to join us at that meeting at 7:30 p.m. the first Friday. Bring your glass of wine or whatever your choice of drink is. Bring your meal, sit down, and we'll have a virtual holiday party with a guest speaker. If you have any questions on the ARL, the direction it's going, anything to do with the league, he's your person you want to ask. So write down your questions, keep them keep them organized, and Fred will be a good speaker. We're also going to have the assistant director as well as the Western Mass director for the ARL present. So if you have questions, anything to do with the ARL, these are the people that are going to answer it, and they'll take down your ideas too and your comments and everything. So you got a month to prepare for that, and we'll be talking that up. And that's coming up the first Friday in December. Let's see here. So let me just ask, does anybody have any questions before I go into the next step? If you do, unmute your microphone and toss a question out there. Or if you have any announcements you'd like to make, unmute your microphone and let me know, and we'll let you make the announcement.
Do we have what the topic is going to be next Monday night?
Marcel? You gotta unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying. We do. We want to know about an embarrassing or a funny incident that occurred to you involving ham radio.
Good story. Good stories.
I'm sure there's going to be several good ones.
All right. Any other questions or announcements?
I got one, Larry.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, I've been working on, if you've seen the post I released on the Reflector and Facebook there about Instagram. Now I've started up an Instagram account. It's using the same Hampden County RA username. You can log in. I sent out the to get into it, and then you can either log in with Facebook or start another account, whichever you choose. Just a great place to for like Facebook, and whether you want to share. Right now it's open with the hopes of new membership and attracting some new members. So just something to bear in mind at post something that it's available for all to see, not just club members.
Okay, can you write something up and send that to John N1JIE for the December Zero Beat, please?
Sure, will do.
Okay, cool. All right, any other announcements? Okay, let's move on here. I'm gonna remute everybody. Okay, so SDR is something that that everybody talks about, and it gets the term gets thrown around a lot. And Najim did a very technical talk on SDR about a year and a half ago for the club at when we were still meeting at Holyoke Hospital. But everybody wants to see what SDR can do and how it can be done and how you can optimize it and how you can really make use of it, what it can do for you. And I asked Jeff to do a demo. He's got a very cool radio, the Flex 6400. I know I spent a lot of time looking at it before I decided what radio to buy. I did not buy that, but every once in a while I think about the fact that maybe I should have with all the new tech. But anyways, he's going to give a talk on, he's going to tell us all about SDR, give a demo, I'll leave it up to him to choose whether he wants to accept questions in the middle while he's talking, or take break and accept questions, or take all questions at the end. So over to you, Jeff. NT1K. You've got the mic.
All righty. Well, thank you very much. That's all right. Just want to make sure mic was actually hooked up. Yeah, we can. Oh, we can, okay. We can take questions during the presentation. I got a bunch of slides prepared. I sort of did I've done this presentation at Franklin County. I changed a couple slides here and there, but I'll at the end of this presentation, don't worry about taking notes or anything. I'll send the presentation off to Vanessa, and then it can be posted on the website. So I'll export the presentation. So I'm going to probably try to fly through the slides as fast as I can, and we'll spend a little more time answering questions and doing a demonstration, and I'll show you guys how the Flex works actually through Zoom. So hopefully it all works out. So I'm going to share my screen right now, or Larry can make it so I can share my screen.
All you have to do is, I think, click share screen. Wait, all right.
It says host this. All right, so there we go. All right, can everyone see that?
Yep.
All right, good. So presentation SDR. I'll give a little bit about the SDR, and it's sort of like a 50-50 presentation. A little bit's about SDR. I'm not the most technical person. I wouldn't know the algorithms and math that was involved in getting SDR and doing all that stuff, but I've been deep into it for a while. So let me see if I can. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. I've been in ham radio since the 90s. I got into SDR when I bought a Yaesu FT950. They have a DMU unit, digital. I forgot the name of why it was called DMU, but I wanted to buy one, and they're charging a ridiculous amount of money. And I found out that you could tap the intermittent frequency and add SDR to a radio. So I did it that way. I just went off the deep end. I enjoy software-defined radio. I think it's one of my favorite things about the hobby. So I started buying a bunch of different boards and gadgets, and it put me down a deep rabbit hole. So I ended up with my latest radio is basically all SDR now, is all SDR with the Flex 6400. So what is SDR? It's basically software-defined radio. It takes an analog signal, converts it to digital for processing. It's simple as that. It's mostly done by software. It's either by a computer or an embedded hardware system within the radio that transforms the digital data to what the application requires. So like some SDR units, the computer is doing all the heavy lifting. It's doing all the processing and converting the ones and zeros back to audio. Or there's a FPGA, a field programmable gate array inside the hardware that does the processing for you, so your computer doesn't have to work as hard. And some radios are all in one built in. So digital radios, the term digital was for radios was used since the early 70s, according to Wikipedia. I'm not sure for what though. I tried to go into detail, but couldn't find that. The term software radio was used in 1984 to refer to a digital baseband receiver, and there was the military that had this. They wanted this all-in-one radio to communicate across all different types of platforms and other radios that the government was using. So they had a program called the Speakeasy, and that's when SDR radios started really coming into play in the mid 90s. So it allowed the military to interoperate. It made things a little easier. So and then ham radio started adapting it in the early 2000s. Your typical Superhet. This is a block diagram. On the top is your your typical Superhet design. You got your antenna, filter, amplification, mixing, and more filter and demodulation. And it's similar with SDR. You still have your filter, like your pre-selectors, your bandpass filters that are still in line. Then it gets amplified and then converted from analog to digital, and it goes through processing either through, as I said, a FPGA or through the computer, and then it could be applied. DSP, digital signal processing, and other things can be applied to it. So of course, there's pros and cons about SDR, and the first few ones are pros for because there's a lot of SDR radios that don't have a pan adapter. You can't visually see the band. So, but for the ham radio operator, SDR is you can the pros for SDR is you can instantly see band activity. I mean, it's great if you're a contester. You can go to 10 meters and nobody's on, and then instead of you don't have to spin the dial all the way up and down looking for people, you'll instantly know. You can easily focus in on a signal. So if there is somebody, a lone person on 10 meters, you can be like, oh, who is that? See who they are, click on the signal and find out who they are right away. You know, you don't have to go searching for them. It's easier to fight in pileups especially if you're running split. If you're a CW operator and they're saying up whatever, and you could actually see all the CW signals on your pan adapter, whether it's on your computer or there's some hardware pan adapter. It makes fighting for pileups easy because you can find the station that's talking to the wanted station, and hopefully you can put your signal right after theirs, and they're still listening, and you can get in there that way. With SDR, another pro is you're able to adjust the filters and apply different DSP algorithms like right on the fly. Generally SDR has less distortion, so I'm a bit of an audiophile. I like nice clear sounding audio. Of course I'm going through a mixer, so I can't really my audio right now doesn't sound too good, but I got the mics, I got all the channels, all the rack equipment stuff. I like audio. So I've noticed with SDR, depending on the hardware you have, it's a lot better audio. There's always room for development. For amateur radio, we're still in the I wouldn't say infancy, but it's all driven by software. So there's a lot more innovations, different algorithms for digital signal processing, pulling CW out of the air, or pulling noise where you don't see any noise, or you don't hear, pulling signals where you don't really see the signal. So it's getting better and better. And hopefully you could probably upgrade your entire radio just by a firmware upgrade, which it's awesome. You don't have to worry about buying stuff. There are standalone options available. You don't need to have a computer. There's the ICOM 7300 is an SDR basically, and it's a standalone all-in-one unit. There are free and open source options. There's a lot of people that are into ham radio because it's very open, and there are some closed source hardware involved, but a lot of the code and for some of the radios, there are open source available. So you're not completely locked out. It allows the operator itself to, with the spirit of ham radio, to actually get in and mess with the code. And yeah, it's a different type of experimentation, but if you're into software programming, amateur radio is awesome. And you can sort of combine two hobbies into one. As I said, yeah, you can update the radio with software upgrades. You can share your radio a little bit easier when it comes to an SDR radio. I have my Flex radio here. I was sharing it to all sorts of people. I had James WD1S. He was sort of interested in buying a Flex. So I said, here, try out my radio. All he had to do is download a piece of software, and he was able to use my radio. And I think he might have bought one. I'm not sure, but you could share it a lot easier. And the software also could perform multiple tasks. There are software, I forgot which SDR software, that allows for RIDI, CW, data decoding right through the software. Station control, you could control other devices depending on the devices. The hardware is a little more simplified. It's easier maintenance, and it's less power consumption. And of course, people think that that SDRs means expensive, and not necessarily, not anymore. Of course, where there's pros, there's cons. Extensive hardware and software development needed. It's not like with Superhet, you can design a radio from scratch and pull out parts bins, and there's a lot that's involved in creating an SDR radio. And I wish I knew half of it. I don't even think I know 2% of it. It needs processing power, whether it's through an FPGA or your PC. You could do direct sampling circuits, but you still need to process the digital signal. And Flex Radio, for example, they have a lot of their processing stuff built on board the radio. So your computer's just acting more as a display than anything. Some units depend on a separate computer. That's not really ideal for portable people or MCON use. If the storm happens and the only thing you have is your radio, you're on some units, you're a bit out of luck, but they're making more all-in-one units, like as I said with the 7300. Some units have absolutely no display. I know there's a a lot of ham radio operators out that want to have the buttons and knobs and turns and things like that. So I consider that a con. No buttons, no. The Flex here just has a on button. That's it, an LED button. It's difficult for home user repair because a lot of the chips are proprietary in SMT surface mounts. Well, most newer receivers also have this, but especially with the SDR receivers, there are kits, but when you're trying to diagnose an IC, and it's proprietary and you can't get the data sheets for it, and it makes it harder for a home user repair. You possibly need multiple computer monitors. I have 3 computer monitors here, so I always have my SDR running or my Flex radio running on one of the monitors. I do my logging on the second monitor, and I have web and QRZ and other things on my third monitor. So I consider it a con if you have one monitor, but it's still possible to do it. For some hardware, it's difficult integrating the SDR with applications that use audio. So if you're big into digital modes on HF, like FT8 and JT65, or I'm not even sure if anyone does JT65 anymore, but for some of the SDR radios out there, it's sort of a bit of a difficulty because you got virtual audio cables and virtual COM ports you might have to deal with to get everything to sync together. So I consider that a con. And lastly, there's some latency issues if you're running the SDR through Internet Protocol. There are a lot of devices, like I got this a Fedry right here. It's an SDR unit that uses the IP, and if you're trying to use it as a transmitter, especially with CW, there's a bit of a latency issue with it, but if you're running it locally, the latency is very, very low. I'm talking probably like 20 or 30 milliseconds at the most. It's when you start going remote over the internet that latency becomes a big issue. There's many types of SDR hardware that are used by hams. You got these like little dongles right here. These I got one in my hand right here. This it's called an RTL SDR. There's an AirSpy SDR plays a very popular thing that hams use. It's just a puck that you hook an antenna to, or you hook it to your IF, and you hook it up to your computer, and it bridges them together basically. And you tune your radio around, and you could, if you hooked it up to your radio's IF, you could tune the SDR, or you could tune your radio, and you keep the software locked at your IF frequency. It basically turns your radio into a panadapte. We'll get into that in a little bit more. Then there's SDR through IP. There's a lot of hardware that's out there that you can I just have this a Fedry hooked up to my network. I have it hooked up to an antenna, and I allow people to connect to it over the internet, and they can control the unit and listen to signals and stuff. So it's all done through IP. All the I lost my words. Data can be done through IP, and it's better that it's a little faster than trying to send the signals over a USB cable to your computer sometimes. There are kits available. You got the Hermes. There's a soft rock kit. So if you want to get into it and you want to build it from scratch, the soft rock is a nice start. That's about, I think, 10 or 12 years old. It's really great. There's also some standalone SDR receivers. You don't even need a computer for them, like the new Elecraft K4 that's coming out. That's pretty much SDR. It just has a nice little fancy front end. The 7300, the 7610, the ELAD Duo, and there's a lot more out there on the market, and there's more and more coming out every year. There are computer-dependent SDR transceivers like the Apache Labs, the Flex. It does need a computer for some of the Flex models. And then there's a computer-included SDR unit like this guy right here. It actually has a Windows PC built into it. So it will do the processing through an FPGA and do the audio processing through the onboard on the computer. So it's pretty neat. The most popular, I think, for ham radio operators when it comes to SDR is the RTL SDR, these little dongles. You can buy them on Amazon for $20. I think Najim did a really good speech on dealing with the RTL SDR, especially if you have a Linux computer. There's some other cool little things, like I got this guy right here. This is basically 4 of these sticks built onto the same board. It's a Kerberos SDR. It's a 4-channel. So what this allows, what's great about this is it shares the same clock. So this allows for things like if you're into fox hunting, you could actually hook 4 antennas up to this. It's 4 independent SDR receivers, and you can hook this to a Raspberry Pi, and you have yourself a fox hunting receiver with this using Doppler shift. So it's pretty neat. And there's software written for it that you can load on a laptop, put it in your car. All you got to do is put 4 antennas on the roof of your car and away you go. So I think that's pretty neat considering if you're into fox hunting, and Doppler systems back in the, 10 years ago, it was like $400 or $500 just to start out. You had the Ramsey kit, and I forgot the other one. So for $150, the price has definitely come down on it. With RTL, it uses they call it RTL because it's Realtek. That's who manufactured Tip. These dongles are actually developed a long time ago to be TV receivers out in Europe. You plug the dongle in and be able to get TV, and someone figured out that they can view the raw IQ data coming off of it. And I just lost my, there we go. Let me see here. Let's see if I can get this back to
Full screen.
Yeah. I threw the dongle and hit my escape button. Where was it? Okay, yeah. They figured out you could view the raw IQ data, so they developed different software to basically utilize these little TV dongles. And what's great about it is these dongles are insanely cheap. You can get them as low as $10. I mean, that you can't beat that. You got yourself a thing that can receive 20 megahertz, up to about 2 gigahertz, depending on the model you buy. So if this is the great entry level for ham radio operators. I used to have a bunch of these running, listening to 2 meters. There's multiple uses for these dongles. I use them as a police scanner. I used to use them for fox hunting. I decode airplanes that are above us using ADSB, and I use them as a panadapter at times, because they make these now. Some of these can go well into HF, so you can use it as a pan adapter. And due to the massive popularity, since as I said, they started out as TV tuners, now they're starting to make these with let me turn my pointer on. They're starting to design SDR, or they are designing SDR units, RTL units that are made for receiving radio signals, and they're shielded, they're enclosed, they use better oscillators. So I think this is the best intro. But the only downside with these dongles is because it was originally developed for TV use, it's a little bit tricky to design, to install these, because when you plug it in, it thinks it's a TV tuner, and it's going to try to install drivers for a TV tuner. And you basically have to remove those drivers and replace them with the ones for SDR. So that's the only downside about these. But for the price, the learning curve is easy, I think. You can modify these dongles with an up converter, and some of them are built in now for HF reception for almost the same price. The major software that uses this is a lot of people use what's called SDR Sharp. I use it a lot at home to look at digital signals. There's a little plugin for the SDR Sharp software called DSD, Digital Signal Decoder. And I can listen to all sorts of stuff. D-Star, DMR, P25. There's a lot of DMR around here. So for $20, you got yourself a DMR receiver. I found out that MGM, all their radios are on DMR. That's what you see going on in the screen. The only thing it can't do, though, is it can't decode encrypted communications. It will actually tell you that it's encrypted, and it won't let it decode because you don't have the right keys. So another cool thing is you could receive airplane data with it. This is the one I got running at my house. At the time, there was only a couple airplanes in the area, or my antenna was only receiving a couple airplanes. I think Bob McCormick has a couple SDR receivers up on top of Proven Mountain listening for airplanes, and it provides a lot of data to these websites that track airplanes. A lot of people use it to see if their loved ones have landed and where they are, and it's real-time tracking. So I have a setup at my house. It consists of a Raspberry Pi. There's the SDR dongle right there. Since ADSB uses 1090 megahertz, I have a filter that I purchased. I didn't feel like making one. I I have a filter that just notches for 1090 megahertz, and I made my own little ground wave, ground plane antenna. So the price wasn't that bad. All in all, less than $50. And now they make units with the dongle, a preamplifier, and a filter built in for $20. So you can get rid of the filter right there. It's really cool when you get it going. There's a bunch of software for ADSB. I'm just going to fly through that. There's a bunch of other software that basically that will display the data from your SDR as in various formats. You could do it in spectrograph or do the waterfall. It basically is your front end or your control panel for the hardware. So there's various SDR softwares out there. There's so many I can't even list them all here. Some hardware does have proprietary software, like the Flex, the newer Flex radios. It's very proprietary. You have to use a Flex software. You can't use other software. But you got something like the Apache Labs, Anon 100, I think, can use all sorts of different software. People use this one right here. It's Power SDR. That was originally developed by Flex, but there's HD SDR. SpectraView. This is for the AirPlay. So there's all sorts of, there's all SDR Play. That's where we get. So there's all sorts of software out there, and that, some are proprietary. They said they have to work with the hardware, and then there's some that's more open. So what you're seeing a lot of these photos are waterfalls. It displays signals depending on how you have it set up, either through a spectrogram or through what we call a waterfall. So you got your frequency here, and then as it goes down, you got time. So you could actually tell just by visually looking at, glancing at the screen, how busy a band is or what types of signals you're seeing and adjust accordingly. You could also see when we did a demo, you could definitely see any things like interference or whatnot. You could try it before you buy it. There are many websites out there right now that people share their SDR receivers, and you could use them for free. The biggest ones is sdr.hu and websdr.org. These two websites, you go to them, you could pick a location, connect to the SDR, and right through your web browser, you could tune around and listen to signals. So it's great if you're trying to listen to your own, if you want to listen to your own signal, even to see how it receives out in the Netherlands, for example. You can fire up the SDR, send some CW, or do a test over your radio, and you can see how you sound all across the world, all for free. There's also remotehams.com, and that's where a lot of people a lot of hams share their radios. But I find that people use a mix of radios on that site, and some don't allow you to TX with transmit with it, and some are very restrictive on members only and stuff like that. But the first two links, if you want to try the SDR stuff before you even think about buying it, you could do it for free without having to buy a single thing, and you don't even have to leave your house to do it. So as I said, I'll put these slides up on, I'll give them to Vanessa and she'll get them on the website. So the links will be there. So it's pretty neat. You could also convert your radio into a pan adapter if you just Google your radio and IF tap, or if your radio has an IF output already, it's great. All you really need is then just the dongle or the SDR device. Hook it up to your IF. You might have to put a attenuator or a buffer pad in between, but what it'll do is it'll take the intermittent frequency and display it. So when if you take your SDR unit up here, like the SDR Play, let's say your first IF is 70.451 megahertz. If this receives 70.451 megahertz, you would tune your SDR to that, and as you spin the VFO on your radio, you would actually see, depending on the specs of the SDR, you could actually visually see the band. And I know a lot of people that use it that way. I think Jurgen has an SDR Play on his radio, and that's how he sort of has a pan adapter on his FT5000. But some radios have an IF output. Some radios you actually have to get in there and do some soldering or give it to somebody. So, or if you want, you could try also using a TR relay, transmit receive relay. There's multiple ways to do it. So you can actually turn your radio into an SDR radio, so to speak, but the radio will still be doing the demodulation. You can also have the SDR do the demodulation, but that's where you'll start seeing the latency and why some people have issue with it. But it's a great visual indicator to see if a band is busy or not. So it's possible. So now I'm going to get into the Flex radio portion of it. I do not work for Flex. I wish I made commission, but nope. I nothing to do with Flex. However, I did send them this presentation to make sure it's factual. And they said the only complaint they had is I didn't add that the logo is trademarked. That was the only issue they had with it. They loved everything else though, and they actually asked if they could incorporate in some of their slides. So who knows? Maybe I'll see some of my stuff in their products, or in their presentations. But Flex started up in the 2003. They had the Flex 1000. They were the creators of the original Power SDR software. That software is used with a lot of various SDR hardware now. I think a lot of the Apache or the Anon Labs guy use the Power SDR software because it was originally open source. It is a competitive price for Flex Radio. I have the 6400, which is at this point in time their basic lowest model. I paid about $2,000 for it. Compared to the K3S, K4, the 7610, there are some really great features, and I think it's very comparable. The software is continually improving. The first year I bought it in 2018 or 2019, early 2019, and they were putting out software updates that basically changed the radio. Sometimes for the good, sometimes not so good, but they kept releasing updates, and they include a free year of updates, and then after the first year they'll charge. But I haven't yet have the need to update my radio. So the last time I updated they released an update was in late 2019, and I'm sure with the COVID it sort of stopped them from developing stuff more. But who knows? I'm perfectly fine with it. It's built. These radios are built for amateur radio. It's not built for something else, and someone adapted it. Processing is all done in the hardware. The PC, your computer just acts as a display and controller. So you don't have to have the most powerful PC to run the Flex. There's a lot of people that say, "Oh, you need these big, processors and RAM," and not really. Not with the newer Flexes. You can easily remote into it, and the current models are the 6400. There's a 6400M, which we'll get into in a minute, and the 6600 and the 6700. The 66 and 6400, these are like the two most commonly sold radios right now from Flex, and there is a bit of difference between the two radios. With the 6600, you get two basic, they call their receivers SCUs. You get two of those. So you basically have two radios in one. They have a better pre-selector in the 6600. So the filtering before it gets to the conversion, they have a 7th order elliptical versus a 3rd order on the 6400. There's more bandwidth. The 6600 has an AT antenna tuner built into it, where the 6400, that's an option. And if you're an audiophile like myself, they have a dedicated XLR TRS mic input, where my radio just has a little headphone jack for the microphone. So with the 6600, yeah, it's more expensive, but you are getting two radios. I mean, you could treat it as a single operator, two radio SO2R operation. So it's better than buying two K3s. You're definitely saving money there. And diversity of reception is pretty cool as well. But for those who must have knobs and buttons, they do make basically a glorified tablet, I call it, a tablet with an expensive case. I don't have this. I have just the regular Flex, no screen, no nothing like that. So I figured down the road I could buy this if I need it. What's really cool about this is it has a high resolution screen. There's inputs for microphones, CW for your paddle, for a push to talk switch. There's audio line out, and it connects to your network using a Wi-Fi or wire connection. You don't have to be in the same room with your radio. As a matter of fact, you could take this on vacation with you, like go to a hotel room, and you have your radio with you at a hotel room. As long as you have a decent internet connection, you can use this anywhere in the world. It will connect right to your radio. They do have a battery option, so you can actually walk around with it. So I don't know, you go in your backyard and play around with the radio. There's an option for that. As I said, it can be used anywhere in the world where there's internet access, and it makes for a cleaner desk. Why not have both? Flex does make units with the Maestro basically built into the front. It's perfect for those who want that all-in-one package. You can hook up an external monitor to have a bigger display. It's better for the NCOM. It's an all-in-one unit. You don't have to worry about computers or anything. It's all done right there, and take advantage of their excellent filtering right on screen. And there's no network internet connection needed for standalone operation. So it's pretty cool. What's another cool thing I like about the Flex is you can, with a transverter, you can buy these on eBay really cheap. You could do 2 meters, 440, 1.2 gigahertz, whatever you want. As long as you have the transverter, the Flex has a transverter port on the back that allows you to hook this up. And within the Flex software, you can configure the whatever frequency that the transverter is asking for. Like I think these are for up into, I think they use 28 megahertz or something. So you could convert, do an up conversion or down conversion, depending on what you're trying to do with a transverter, and use the Flex software with it. So it's pretty cool. With the newer radios, their main software they develop is called Smart SDR. It's basically the user interface between your computer and the radio. It controls the radio. With the Flex radios, the newer ones, you have to hook it up to your network. You could directly hook it up with the Ethernet cable to your computer, but they strongly suggest that you hook it up through a network. And that's one of the downsides. Is it could definitely, if you're not a network guy or you don't have many computers hooked up to your network, it could be a little difficult. I got to admit that, but it gives you the full control of the radio, make all your adjustments. And it's, as I said, they continually update the software. You'll hear Flex boast about brick wall filtering, and you'll hear it a lot of time in their advertisements, and you'll hear it a lot in their promotional things. And people are like, well, why should I care? But if you're doing just regular QSOs and having a chat here and there, it doesn't really matter. But if there's a contest field day, or there's pileups going on, or there's a louder station next to you, that so-called brick wall filtering will help. You'll see, like, of course, this is for a CW. They're comparing it to an INRAD filter. And you'll see the skirts here that are on the Flex much tighter. It sort of applies also with sideband. I was doing CQ Worldwide last year, and as you could see, I'm tuned to this 9A right here, but there's a much stronger Italian station almost right, well, I wouldn't say on top of him, but he's within the passband. So with the mechanical filters, or the filters that are in a lot of the Superhet radios, you would be picking up you'd be hearing a lot of this operator right here. And the same thing, I got another Italian station on the other side of them, not as loud, but you'd still be able to hear him because part of his signal is going into this passband. So I've taken advantage of these brick wall filters. It pretty works. It works pretty much what they say. I can't hear any of the signal at all. It makes a huge difference, and it's fully adjustable. I can adjust the filters. We'll show that in a bit. You can do CW with the Flex. A lot of people think you can't. Yes, you can. You could do it remotely as well. And if you get a wind keyer, you can actually use the paddle remotely. So for those people that must have to use one of these paddles, you could do so remotely as well as locally. If you don't feel like using a paddle, the software has an option to type in the Morse code, and it will send it out physically over the radio. So I thought that was pretty cool. People ask about the latency with CW. As I said, if you're using this locally, I don't have much latency issues, especially if you're a CW contester. With the software and sideband, you can instantly click, see which stations are stronger. I can see this guy is really, really strong, and you can see all some of the weaker stations. And if you're in a crowded band, this is during CQ Worldwide. It helps you find a hole. Like for example, right here, either someone locally is on this frequency right here, or that's a nice hole that I don't have to go around looking for. As you can tell, almost the entire band's being used. So I got to squeeze in somewhere. I think I'd probably go right here just by a quick glance, maybe right here. So just by looking at, you don't have to spin the dial constantly trying to find a run frequency. So I think that's a huge advantage on voice contesting using a panadapte or using a flex, especially. As I said, you can also find dead bands. I only see 1 or 2 signals. In this case, I think that's K1 triple T. I don't have the best 10 meter setup, but you could actually see the whole entire band. It's dead. I could just go to another band. I don't have to worry about spinning around. What's also really cool is if you're using N1MM or you're using DX Labs, or there's many software available. If you can actually overlay the spots that are coming in over your SDR screen in the Flex. With the Smart SDR, you can click on these signals and it will tune the radio and partially fill out your logbook with DX Labs at least. I think that's pretty cool, especially during contesting. You could, if you're running assisted, you could click on these and you can get all these multipliers just by clicking around, and you could actually see how strong they are. So whether or not you can work them or not is clearly right on your screen. You could do multiple slices even with the 6400. I was once again doing contests. I was listening. I was on 20 meters. I was up. I'm sorry. Here we go again. Yeah, let me see if I can catch up there. We're almost ending it. I'll stop talking in a bit.
You're doing great, Jeff.
All right. So yes, you could do multiple slices. So it's pretty cool. I'll be on 20 meters running, calling CQ, and I'll be on, as long as it's on with the 6400, as long as I'm on the same antenna, I have a tri-bander, so I can be on 15 meters at the same time looking for multiplier stations. So I can switch back and forth between the 2 pan adapters and transmit and make my multiplier contact, and then go right back to running or calling CQ. It also allows you to run multiple. If you're into like FT8, you could do FT8 on multiple bands or any other kind of digital mode. Like I did the recent RIDI contest doing it this way. So it's pretty neat. Another really cool thing about the Flex, and I think it's mostly pointed at the Flex right now, is I forgot his name. It's in there. W9GR. He developed what's called controlled envelope single sideband. It basically adds power to your signal by shaping, like if you overdrive your signal, it clips the ALC kicks in and it clips your signal and you get distortion. But this allows you to basically like turning the mic gain knob, but without getting all that distortion. That's I guess the simple way I could put it. They claim that you can get 2.5 dB of increased power, voice power, and up to 4 dB in some cases. I thought that was a little high, but after talking with a lot of people, no, this controlled envelope sideband works very well. A lot of people confuse it with ESSB, which means having a wide sideband signal, but no, so for contesting, this will help you, or trying to fight in a pileup. This will give you a little bit of an edge. So it's pretty cool. The software, you could do notching just like you with a radio, but you could click and leave the notches there. So if you ever go back to the band later on, those little birdies or whatever will be silenced forever. As I said, you could do FT8. The Flex software has virtual audio ports and virtual COM ports, so you can hook all your favorite digital software up to your Flex. It's very easy to do it. Well, I'd say somewhat easy to do it. There's a lot of sound cards involved, but you can easily get your software to work with the Flex. And as here I am doing 2 bands at once. I'm on 20 meters and 15 meters doing FT8. So it makes up for a busy screen, but if you're like Paul here looking for DX constantly, this can help you out big time, because now you got 2 bands going at the same time. As I said, if you're doing digital modes, you can use websites like PSK Reporter, and you could see how well your signal's propagating around the world. What's really cool about this, the Flex radio, is you can set up different profiles for what you're doing. You can have a profile for contesting, like I have. Well, these are microphone profiles, but you can set up profiles that will completely change all the settings in your radio depending on what you'd want to do. Like, as I said, I have my microphone setting, so depending on what I'm doing, I could select a different mode. So if I'm using this boom mic here, I could do. I have profiles set up for rag showing, DX. I have my headsets that I use for contesting, and I have different profiles for how I receive, how I transmit. It's pretty cool. So there's two pieces of software that run alongside the Smart SDR. Is you have your CAC controller or your virtual COM ports, and it allows me to set up so many different ports for I can have multiple software running at the same time using the radio. I can set up, I can emulate WinKeys. There's so much you could do. There's no more cables running around from hardware. It saves a lot. There is a learning curve to it. And another piece of software that the Flex uses is called the DAX, Digital Audio Exchange. And this is where you set up all your audio coming in and out of the Flex. It sets up virtual audio ports in your computer, and you can assign your digital software to use these video sound cards. And this what allows you to interface your radio with a lot of things. Another cool thing about it is if you have some newer amplifiers like the SPE Experts amp or the Elecraft amp, this allows you to control the amplifier, or if you have the appropriate antenna rotator, or the like if you have a stepper antenna, it will control the stepper antenna all through the radio. So it will send different types of data formats out to the devices you have hooked up to it. There are a couple USB ports on the back of the Flex, and you can add more ports with a USB hub. So if you have some newer amps and antenna controllers, you can definitely use the Flex to control your antennas. This is the typical Flex setup. You got your antenna hooked into the radio. Usually you hook it up to your router, modem, or switch, depending on your network. And you use your computer locally. So it just connects through the switch or through the modem. And you hook up all your you could still hook up all your physical devices to the radio itself. I have my Flex right here on my desk right next to me. So I still have my key, my headset still physically connected to it. You can operate the thing remotely from anywhere over the internet. You could use a laptop, the Maestro, or if you have an Apple device, like a tablet, they have an app for it. You could do it that way, or there's various ways of doing this. With the Flex, you could actually hook up multiple operators and still share the same radio, especially with the 6600. You could actually have a contesting, someone's help you out on a contest doing it remotely. So I think that's pretty cool. And there's a bunch of other ways you could connect to it. You could do it Wi-Fi or have multiple, like with the 6600, a lot of people buy two Maestros and have two operator positions. It's pretty neat. Another thing I do that I love with this radio is on the back of the Flex, there's a remote power on switch. So I can power the Flex on and off from anywhere in the world. I don't have to physically sit there and push the button on. So I can leave the radio completely off. I leave my power supply, and with this, I can hook it up to a strip, and I have the power supply. Everything turns on with the click of a button on my phone. So I could turn my whole station on and use it remotely without even having to physically be at the radio. So at this point, we're going to try out a Flex radio, hopefully. There's some links. I'll post that up. As I said, it'll be up on the HCR website. So this is the Smart SDR software. When you start it up, when you power on your radio, it shows that it's available, and you just hit connect to it. So what I'm going to do now is unmute the Flex so you could probably hopefully hear it. And so I'm on 160 meters right now. I do not have a 160 meter antenna, but you can tune in and easily listen in onto a signal. I guess there's a CW contest going on right now. So what we're seeing is the frequency from here, let me tune off a little bit. So what you're seeing is the frequency from 1.81 megahertz to 1.835. I'm a bit of a mush mouth, but I can zoom out, and I could, with the 6400, I could see about 7 megahertz of bandwidth. With the 6600, you can see about 14 megahertz of bandwidth. So you can see the AM broadcast band, and you can see some of my problems that I have over here in in my neighborhood. I got this is right across the river. I think it's about a quarter mile from my house. It's off the WMAS tower, and it's quite a large signal here. So I could change the mode to use almost any mode I want. So I'll switch it to AM, and I could switch to filtering right instantly, and you can now hear country music. So if you're a shortwave listener, there's a lot of cool things about this. When I'm down here, it takes the pre-selectors off. So it's, with the AM stations being so close to my house, it overloads the front end. So, but there's some pretty cool things about it. I could switch bands. I can go to 20 meters. It'll automatically switch antennas based on what I got. And you can zoom out and see that for me, 20 meters isn't doing too well. I don't see many signals on there. We'll try to go to 40 meters. That'll go to my, I guess I was doing something else. Zoom out here. So you can see how bad my antennas are. I see one voice communication going on, but I could zoom in and out, add another panadapte right here. From on antenna 2, I can probably go to 80 meters, 3.5, and see what's going on 80 meters while I'm still on 40 meters. So there's a conversation going on here, and I could switch back and forth. Geez, what else can I show off here? Oh, on the right side, you have all your settings, depending on what you're doing. You could do it from here as well. You could change your modes, apply different DSP algorithms. So you got automatic notch filter, you got your noise reduction, you got a noise blanker. You could adjust the RIT, XIT, the transmitter. You could send an IQ data signal out if you're using a skimmer software. So a lot of people use a RIDI skimmer or CW skimmer software during contesting. You can send an IQ stream out for that software to use. So I think that's pretty neat. And then around here, you got all your profiles for microphones. You have your, if you want to put on, I forgot the processor, you could put on your processor. You got different, you got your different RX and TX profiles that you can use. Overall, it's a pretty great radio for the price, and there's so much you could do with it. I think that is it, unless somebody has.
I have a question, Jeff.
Yeah.
I know at one time you had interference from solar in the neighborhood with your old radio. Can you control the noise better with this than you could with prior or with the noise canceller?
Not really. I still see the solar. I got some imaging, as you could see on my screen. Let me go to 20. It's more pronounced in 80 meters. So let me go to 3.6. You could see some of the signals that are just coming in and destroying my front end here. I got this guy here at it's going up to S9 at that point. It's just it doesn't really mitigate the noise that good because it's so broad-banded. But I could try to apply different. I can't hear the audio that's going through right now, but I could try to apply different algorithms and see if I could get rid of some of the noise. But that's what sucks about being next to solar panels.
Yeah, I was just curious because it's something a lot of us have to deal with.
Yeah, with the 6600, they have better front end filtering, but if it's so wide banded as I'm getting here, you can see it's whatever it is so strong it's cutting in and mixing in. You can see the signal every 200 kilohertz or so. You can see the signal repeating. And I also have the issues with I have 3 AM broadcast stations basically right next to my house, and when I take the pre-selectors off, it just overloads the radio. When the pre-selector's on, it makes it a little bit better, but that's the joys of living in an urban area, I guess.
How about nearby hams?
I got W1TRK. He lives about a block away from me, and I usually don't have an issue with him. And I used to have a big issue with JIO when he lived in the area, but I didn't have the flex running then.
Cool. There must be other people have questions. Unmute your microphone and ask away.
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah.
When do you have? Did you ever compare the Flex radio to one of your other conventional radios that, and especially on this incident here where you have a problem with the AM stations and the solar getting in there?
Yes, I had a K3 for a while and I didn't sell it until just recently. So I did a lot of A/B comparisons between the Flex and the Elecraft, and I will say that I have much better luck with the Flex getting rid of the noise compared to the K3. However, and the audio quality I think is miles above the K3, but I noticed with the K3 on CW, it was a lot better than the Flex when it came to filtering.
Okay.
I had 8-pole filters for the K3 in there for the CW.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to find out, whether you did a comparison.
I did a comparison, and it's about I would say it's about even. As you can see, as I'm turning away from the broadcast band, it's sort of a lot of the noise goes away, but it's still there.
And did you have that?
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Very simple comment. One day I saw a tornado on one of these displays. And I remember what it looked like. It looked like a snowstorm on the display.
Okay. Let me see if I can find a... Yeah, we'll go into 20 meters.
I was up at K1TT's house, and I was doing a contest, and a tornado rolled through Goshen, Mass.
You could definitely see storm activity and stuff with the panadapter, but it's always going to look like a snowy snowstorm. But I know what you're saying is you're seeing the static crashes, especially from the lightning,
Yes.
nearby lightning. Yeah. But
This was very, very, very weird. It looked like snowflakes.
Yeah, at K1TTTs, he's tapping the IF of the FT2000s or the FT1000s that he has running up there. And I think you're probably running on 160 if I know you right. Yeah, right now it sort of looks like a snowstorm, but since there's nothing major going on storm-wise around here, you don't see the activity. But yeah, you can see when there's a storm, especially if there's lightning involved. Is there anyone else have any questions?
I thought it was.
Any other questions from anybody?
Jeff, go on 1414. See how my signal looks like.
Just using the vertical antenna right now. 1414 or 1404?
14014.
14. You're going over me. Let me see if I can switch to my beam here. I can see a signal there. Let me go to CW. Let me switch antennas here. There we go.
Okay, looks good.
There you go. You just checked your own signal. It's not splattering.
When you said you use a different antenna, I turned my kilowatt on.
Right now I got it's on so I could switch antennas here easily. I could switch between I got 2 antenna ports on the back. I also have the exverter port, transverter port, and receiver port, which when I had the beverage I would use that quite a bit. And I could also control what antenna I want to transmit on. So if I have better luck listening to it on my beam, but my beam's not resonant on it, I can use the antenna 2. And I have the antenna tuner in this, so I could definitely just hit, let me see here, antenna 1. I could definitely do a tune right here, and there's a match. So it's pretty neat.
Cool. Great. Any other questions, anyone?
There, I muted you. All right.
Okay, great. Hey, Jeff, thank you very much. Fascinating information, fascinating stuff. Maybe you'll convert some others out there to go buy a Flex. It might be more.
Well, that wasn't my goal, but if someone's interested in it, if they're very interested in and actually want to try it out, you can email me. My call sign it's NT1K at NT1K at NT1K.com. You can email me, and it involves downloading some software on your end, and you can actually use my radio and play with it, just like if you had a Flex right in your own home. So if you're very interested in it, as I said, shoot me an email. I'll be glad to let anyone use it as long as they have the license privilege class to do it. I got no problem with it. I've done it. I did it with James. I did it with a couple other people, and so as I said, yeah, just shoot me an email, and if you want to use it, you just got to go to Flex's website and download the software. That's it.
Cool. All right. Well, the video and the audio for the whole meeting will be up on the website too, and whatever else that you share with Vanessa too will go up there too. I'd like to thank you very much for coming out tonight, doing the presentation tonight. I still think it's fascinating stuff. I saw the Flex demo at Dayton in I think it was 2016 and 2019. And it's still I still find it an extremely cool radio, but not quite for me, but very, very high on the cool list. But anyways, thank you again. Virtual clap for Jeff there. In the meantime, just want to remind everybody about the 10-meter net Monday nights, 28, 375, 7:30 p.m. Subject every weekend, subject every Monday. And Marcel usually posts that, or Ken will post that Monday afternoon for the Facebook page. And everybody's invited. You don't have to be a member. It's a lot of fun. We have a great time, a lot of good laughs, and a lot of really interesting information. Next month, we've got our virtual holiday party with K1VR, the ARL New England Division Manager. We've got coming up, we've got Harold's going to do a meeting on awards that anybody can win. You don't have to be, top notch for the DX contest. There's a lot of other awards you can earn. You can get paper. It's a lot of fun, and you've got something to show off to people or show off on your in your ham shack. We've got fox hunting techniques and different types of gear. I've been hunting with the guys down in Connecticut. And there's a couple of guys that do things very differently from everybody else, and they're very, very good at it. And so there's going to be a talk and a virtual demonstration on how all that works and what they use. And I know one of the guys, Rod N1RU, uses SDR, and he's really good at finding the fox. So he'll talk about what he has, and there's some others too. We got a meeting coming up on Club Log and what it can do for you. And I got a couple of other things in the plans too, as such. And do we have any other announcements or anything else anybody would like to add? I keep looking up. I got like Jeff, I've got 3 monitors, so I'm looking in different places to see what's going on at any given time. Okay, nobody has anything else to add. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. It was a lot of fun, and wish everybody a good weekend. Enjoy the nice weather before it gets cold again, and watch for the beginning of December. Watch for the December Zero Beat and information on that. Like I said, save up your questions, whether they're good or bad, for K1VR. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Everybody stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll see you next month. And pop in and watch what's going on the HCRA Facebook page and the HCRA email list. There's always things going on. Watch your emails, watch the group stuff, and participate. Bands are starting to open up. You'll probably see more DX announcements. And I know Marcel participated, and Chris and a few others participated in the DX contest last weekend or 2 weekends ago. And are starting to really get in and enjoy working some of the DX and having a good time. So hopefully, as the bands improve, we'll hear more people on. And right after the December meeting, we have the HCRA. No, We have the ARL 10-meter contest, which is CW and sideband. It's a contest that we always do as a group with the HCRA, and everybody contributes their score to the HCRA club, and we enter. And it's always a lot of fun. It's always on 10 meters, and hopefully we'll hear everybody on. There'll be more information in the next Zero Beat on that. So everybody have a good evening, and thanks for coming out tonight.
You too, Jeff.
Night. Night.
Good night.
Have a
Thanks a
good one.
lot.
Good night.
Nice.
Good night. Thank you. Great job, Jeff.
Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Thanks a lot,
Yep.
Jeff.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
I
Very good.
love my flex too.
Hi, Carol.